Hopefully, you could hear me. It's me, Dahlia, and today is I have a few things to talk about today. I did want to share with you guys that it's really tricky making these videos. Number one, because they are stored forever, and number two is because it is um, just the judgment and evaluation that goes with making these videos is always in the back of my head. But I wanted to share with you that I'm really going to try to just be myself and give you guys insights into what I foresee in the future so that it benefits you. And that's what that's really the point of these videos. So with that, I did want to talk about a little bit of an insight that I've had that I've been thinking about, and I have shared on the TikToks and Instagram, but not necessarily on these platforms. Primarily because I just think that I'm literally afraid of the powers beyond me, that I don't know what it would say for me saying this, but I really think it's important. If we look at the people of homes that were purchased in 2021, it's important to note that 15% of those homes were primarily purchased by large investment firms. This is firms like JP Morgan, or large like private equity firms. And these firms buy these properties, and they're not going to see the market where people like you and I can purchase them. They're being purchased as commodities, and part of it has to do a lot with what you see here on the screen. Why? Because these investors know that in the long term, look at how much home prices have grown. They're going to get a good return on their money if these large firms purchase these homes. And a lot of these firms have blatantly said, like, that's their intent. Their intent is to make America people where everyone could just rent. And that's their intent. They want to make a country of, or be America's largest landlord, right? But I wanted to point this out because a lot of uncertainty is happening in the moment, with people with inflation hitting the market, and they're asking me, should I purchase a home at this moment? And the reality is, if you could buy a house now and you plan to live in that home for 3 to 5 years, I would say purchase that home, because at one point it might be extremely difficult to buy these homes because there's large property firms that are coming in and buying up cash. There's even if you wanted to spend time on it, there's certain cities where these large private companies have come and purchased almost an entire city, and then therefore inflated prices, where it's very difficult for a single family or just an individual to go purchase a home. So a lot of people also tell me, hey, you only say this because you're a real estate agent and you want to make the sale. Well, yeah, I mean, ultimately, I am promoting real estate because I believe in real estate. That if I didn't, I wouldn't be investing my money. But ultimately, my goal is not to live every day selling houses, is to live off the investments that I'm making, right? So I don't just want to have commission breath and be dying for every single sale. Long term, my goal is not to be an agent, but to be a, a, a investor, right? So these are things that I wanted to share with you. And now the next thing I want to say, like, let's say you can't afford a home now. What are some things that you can do to prepare yourself for that dream of home ownership? Number one, you want to start working on your credit. Credit is ultimately very important, and it will determine how much money you need to put down. Usually, the best programs will allow you not to have to put down the 20%. And also, the private mortgage insurance that has to be paid when you don't put the 20% will be a lot less if your credit score is really high. So, that would be good. So, that's a really good important thing. Try to save as much as you can. If on your for your down payment, you want to save at least, I'll say, 5% to have enough for the down payment and the closing costs. And if you don't know look for how much to save, look for a 3 bed 2 bath house. In Los Angeles, it would be around 650K, and then multiply that by 5%, and that'll tell you how much you need for your down payment, closing costs. And you can look for that if you need help with that. You can also talk to me or a real estate loan officer that I can refer you to that can help you what to figure out what you need to do. So for example, if any of you are self-employed, the process for buying a house could be a little bit different because your tax structure is a little bit different, and usually income taxes are used to validate the income. So there's special requirements for that. Um, well, so for credit, down payment, and basically don't get in a lot of debt. Even if you could pay a car payment of $1,000 a month, try not to put that on yourself because it will limit how much you can buy. Another thing to note is changes that I've seen in the market. There's starting to be lines again in LA County to look at single family homes. And another thing is that buyers are having their contingencies that are protections that they could have to enter into a contract to purchase a home. And they can also, before in the spring of 2020, it was like 2021, people couldn't, the sellers were asking people to remove their inspection contingencies. I mean, lots of money over the list price, appraisal contingencies, and things like that. In this moment, most buyers come into the contract with that, and sellers don't have these crazy expectations. So that's also really important to note that the market's changing, but I feel like it's just coming back to something that's normal. And they're also willing to help buyers with credits to pay down the interest rate to help them. And there's lots of programs. I'm sure you've heard of 311 or 211 credit, basically where you pay down the interest rate and you have lower payments now, but you get qualified at the higher rate. So eventually, in about 2 to 3 years, if you want to, and the rates come down, then you could refinance out of that. That's the intent with those programs. So if any of you are thinking of purchasing a home, as I said, it's a great time. You want to do it now, and or at least get prepared or start building a roadmap so that you can do that eventually. All right. If there are any questions you have, you want a buyer's free guide, I have that. Or if you're thinking of selling your home, remember that everything is dictated by your local market. So if you are interested in a specific city, I can give you a report based on what's available to you. And I hope you all have a great day. Thanks for tuning into my live, and have a wonderful week and enjoy your holidays.